In this video, we're going to be learning a solo fingerstyle arrangement of House of the Rising Sun for the ukulele. This video is perfect for anyone who's looking to upgrade their fingerpicking technique because we're going to be using the 3-finger style to add these nice fills around with the melody. We'll also be doing a little bit with some harmonics and some bar chords, so there's something for everyone in this video lesson. Let's go ahead and dive into the first bar and talk about this technique a little bit. It should look something like this as I bring the camera down. Now you can see the tab on screen. If you'd like to download a copy of this tab, please check out my Patreon page. More on that at the end of the lesson. But let's go ahead and start by talking about the technique that's used here. We're going to be using what's called 3-finger picking. Now I have a whole video of it. It's actually uploaded right over here. You can see it's a 4-minute video that teaches it to you. But the gist of it is take your thumb, start it on the C string here, about a 45-degree angle. I like to be right where the sound hole starts. And then I'm going to take my index and middle fingers and put them behind the thumb, pretty close to perpendicular to the strings on the E and the A strings to make it look something like this. The thumb's responsibility is both the G and the C string, so it's going to alternate back and forth. And it's okay to take the pinky and set it on the ukulele to what we call anchor it if that's more comfortable for you. If you've never done something like this, I highly suggest checking out that video. Otherwise, let's go ahead and start learning House of the Rising Sun using this technique. So we're going to start here with the very beginning, and we're going to play There Is a House in New Orleans. We're going to start by playing just the open on the E string, and then we're going to go into the first measure here. We're going to play an A minor. Take your index finger, place it on the 2nd fret of the G string, and now we're going to pluck our G with our thumb, E with our index, and A with our middle finger, all at the same time. And that's going to be There Is. Now, what's cool about this is you'll see all of these zeros with parentheses around them. In fact, if you look at this whole line here, there's a lot of notes with parentheses around them. The reason for that is these are optional finger picking fills, and this is exactly why I think this is such a wonderful lesson. If we want to play it simply, we can omit those and not play any of them. And if we want to add more complexity, we can include them. The trick is when you do include them to make sure that you play them softer because they are not the melody notes. There's no lyric associated with them. So that you can hear it, I'm going to play it first without any of the fill notes. Play this whole part of There Is a House in New Orleans. And then I'm going to play it with the fills, and you can decide which one you like more as we're working through. So here it is without the fills. And here it is with the fills. You can hear that the fills definitely add a lot to this, especially as you start playing at full speed. And that is why I think this is such a fun arrangement. So we're going to be learning it with the fills, but remember you can always cut them out to make it easier. So after we play the A minor, we're then going to play open on the C with our thumb, E, and then A, using that 3-finger picking style. Now I'm going to play 2 on the A string. I'm going to take my middle finger, add it here, pluck that with the middle finger for the word And then for the word house here, I'm going to take my ring finger, add it on the 3rd fret of the A string, pluck my G open, E open, and 3 on the A. Then I'm going to pluck the C, E, and A, nice and soft because those are filler notes. And then I'm going to play the word in with 7 on the A string. I'm going to take my pinky and move it all the way up here to fret 7. Play that. And you'll notice there's a slide marker here. The reason is because right after I play this, I'm going to then start sliding it down to 5. Because if you look at the next thing that we play for the word new, it's a D chord. We're going to take this index finger, bar it across the 2nd fret of the G, C, E, and A strings, while that pinky slides down to 5. And then we're going to pluck the G, E, and A strings all together. Now, a quick tip with this bar, if you're getting a buzz, make sure you're hugging right next to that fret wire. That's the big trick to the bar, is making sure that you get right up next to that fret wire. Then we're going to play the C, E, A strings. And those are nice and quiet because they're filler notes. Then we're going to play open on the A. We can take everything off. And then we're going to play an F chord. We're going to take the middle finger, place it here on the 2nd fret of the G string, index here on the 1st fret of the E string, pluck our G, E, and A, just as we have with every other chord so far. Then we're going to pluck C, E, A for that filler. Now at the very end of this, we're going to play a harmonic hit on 12. That sounds really big and scary, but all that it is taking your index finger here, placing it on the 12th fret of the ukulele, but not on the actual fret where you would play it like this, but rather the fret wire itself. You'll notice that I'm just touching right above the wire with that index finger, and I'm going to touch the string. I'm not going to compress it. I'm not going to not be touching it. I'm just lightly touching it, and I'm going to then strike the string to get this sound. When I start to get the sound, the trick is to then remove the index to let it ring out. This is called a natural harmonic. If you've never done this before, I got a video on this too. Check it out up there, just like the finger picking one. This can really help make it easier as you're playing through, but that's that first harmonic hit. There's gonna be a lot more harmonics in the next stanza of bars. But let's go ahead and hear this. This is now the first 4 bars of the song with that little pickup. It should sound something like this. And with that harmonic hit, I mentioned use the index. You can use your middle or ring or even pinky, whatever's comfortable for you. But now as we go on to the next part, it's going to look and sound something like this. Now to play this, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be playing a harmonic hit to start this measure 5. We're going to be playing 12 on the E and the A strings, plucking those 2. So we're using the same 3 finger picking, the index and middle finger here. You can use whatever finger is comfortable for the harmonic, but now 2 strings instead of just the 1 are played. And after you've done that, you're then going to play the C string harmonic, E string harmonic, and A string harmonic. These are optional, right? These are in the parentheses there. The brackets mean harmonics. The parentheses means optional notes. I know it can be a little bit confusing, but those harmonic hits give you that depth and context as we go into the next melodic sequence. And then you'll see the end of this measure 5, just the 12 is played. This one is not harmonic. So we're going to take the pinky finger and we're going to play 12 on the A string. And that's the word the, and then we go to rise of rising sun. We're going to take this pinky and we're going to slide it down to 10 on the A, pluck the G, E, and A strings together. And then we're going to pluck the C, E, A. You'll notice there's a finger picking pattern that's being developed here. As we're playing through this melody, it's always the G, E, and A for the melody, and then C, E, A for the filler. It's almost always going to just be that. And then we're going to take this pinky, slide it down to 7, and we're going to play that for the word ing, rising. And then for some, we're going to do another bar chord. Leave our pinky here, index stacks over the 4th fret to create this E chord. So we have 4, 4, 4, 7. Same concept with the bar chord here. Make sure you hug that fret wire to get a nice clean connection. We're going to play our G, E, and A together. And then C, E, A, C, E. And then going into the next measure, it's all filler except for the very last note. And then you play an E7. So what we need to do is take this middle finger and place it here on the 5th fret of the A string, still holding the bar with the index. Make sure you get right up next to that fret wire. It can really help. And remember, don't just push, also pull a little bit, meaning with these fingers, kind of pull back. Don't just push with the thumb and pinch it here. Pull back a bit, and that can really help alleviate, and that creates this sound. All of it quieter because all those notes are in parentheses. And then the very last note we're going to play is another harmonic hit on 12 for the word it's. So these 4 measures, starting with 5, 5, 6, 7, and 8 should sound like this. And as we go into the next 4 measures, it should sound something like this. You'll notice that this is very familiar because there's a lot of repetition now with this song. It starts off with the harmonic hit on 12 of the E and the A, just like we did earlier. But then instead of doing the filler notes here with the harmonics, we're going to open up the strings because we need to move back down and get ready to play the numbers 2 and 3. So we're going to play the open C, open E, and open A, nice and soft, before we go to the word the, where we play 2 on the A. And with this 2 on the A, you can use your index or a middle finger. It doesn't matter too much. I like to use the index here. And then when I go to ruin, I like to actually slide that index up to 3 on the A. And when I do ruin, I'm going to play the G, E, and A together. then the C, E, A for filler. Looks very familiar. And this should look really familiar because when we do this 7 and slide down, that whole run through of the ruin of many a boy is actually exactly the same to what we played in measures 2, 3, and 4. It's that same C chord, D chord, F chord. It's exactly the same except for the very last note, that word and, instead of going up to the high 12, we're just playing the open on the A. So a very familiar set of 4 measures. Outside of the very first one, it's pretty much identical to what we've played before. It should sound something like this, starting at measure 9. And from here we go on to measures 13, 14, 15, and 16, which actually finish the song, which is kind of neat. So we're going to start here with an A minor. We can just play that with the 2nd fret on the G string. We did it before with the index finger. Totally fine to do that here. We're going to pluck the G, E, and A together, and then the C, E, and A as filler notes in those parentheses. Then open on the A string. And now we're going to go to this slightly different way of playing an E chord, E7. We're going to be playing the 4th fret on the C and the E strings, but we want to set up the 2 on the A as well. If you look, there's the 2 on the A there as a filler note. So to play this, we're going to take our middle finger, place it here on the 4th fret of the C string. Then we're going to take the ring finger, place it on the 4th fret of the E string. Now I find that what helps is turning my fingernails towards my shoulder here so that I can get a good angle with them so that the ring finger can kind of stack underneath the middle. And then I'm going to take the index and I'm going to put it here on the 2nd fret of the A string. Now, this is a funny chord because if you play through all 4 strings, it sounds dreadful. And the reason for that is this G note should not be anywhere near it, the G string. So we want to make sure we don't misstrike that string. We're going to pluck the C and E strings this time. And then we're going to play C, E, A. And then we're going to play the E string again. So it holds those, only play the C, E, and A this measure. And then when we go on from here, we're going to play that A minor chord, and we're going to do all open as filler, and then we hit harmonics on 12 of the E and the A to end it. And so these last 4 measures are relatively simple. We're going to do a lot of open strings with that fancy little E chord, and it should sound something like this. And that finishes this arrangement. Now what's cool about this is all of those filler notes can be used in different ways. I'm going to bring the video back up to me. This is a fantastic exercise for a beginner player looking to start doing some chord melody fingerstyle where they can just play the melody notes. They don't have to play all those filler notes. For a more intermediate to advanced player, incorporating those filler notes really provides an additional challenge, not only just to play extra notes, but to correctly layer them. It's really important to try to play it so that when you are playing the filler notes, they're quieter and the melody notes are a little bit louder. That creates that differential and that depth that makes this such a magical thing to play. When you watch the beginning of this video, when I demonstrate how the song should sound, pay extra close attention to the volume I'm playing at. You'll notice that I articulate the melody notes better and I put the other notes more in the background. That's just going to be with how I'm striking the strings, the amount of force, and getting comfortable with this 3-finger picking style to be able to facilitate that. In addition to this, you can take these concepts and you can play it to other songs that you are currently working on. On your ukulele journey, you're going to play a lot of things that use finger picking and fingerstyle, and it's really useful to know that after you play the melody notes, if you want to fill the space, you can. Just make sure that you're playing them softer, much like we're doing here. So if you have something with some space in it, try filling it with some of these finger picking fills and see how it goes. It's a really cool technique, works in a lot of different situations. There you have it. There is House of the Rising Sun. This was actually this month's winner over at my Patreon page. Each month we do a vote based on suggestions of members. So if you'd like to help decide what next month's tutorial is going to be sure to check it out. If you are a patron, thank you so much for your support. I wouldn't be able to do these lessons without it. And it's just such an awesome community. And I'm so appreciative for each and every one of you. In addition to this tab that we showed on screen here today, there's also an intro and outro fingerpicking part that's available exclusively on Patreon, accompanying with the tab, so be sure to check that out if you want extra stuff with this style and with this tune. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time on the next video lesson here. Be sure to click subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much.